Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at the trade desk. It is time for another update, and in fact an update was requested by one of the followers, so I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. Now in the case of this chart, we are still tracking a larger 1-2 setup to be forming here in the large time frame, where in the wave 2 I am expecting to find support in the area between the $29 level all the way down to the $5.4 level. So far, we have a possible initial 5-wave structure to the downside within an A wave, but in the previous video, we identified a possible 5-wave structure to the upside as well, also likely within a wave A. And yeah, that was what we were tracking here in the white scenario, and I have provided you a support zone for a correction in the wave B in the area between the $68.7 level all the way down to the $50 level at the 78.6% retracement, which unfortunately we did not manage to hold. Yeah, I posted this video as we were in the pre-market trading when we were heading into these deep levels of support, and we did have some attempts to hold it. Yeah, a couple of times we actually bounced off it, but we didn't end up doing it in the end, and we pushed through it, nearly forming an additional low below the end of this wave A, below the beginning of this internal wave A of the larger wave B correction that we were tracking. With that said, now I don't believe we can really track confidently the potential yellow interpretation that we had, where we were looking for a potential 1-2 setup that would allow for a more significant bottom to have formed in this area. We could still be looking for one from this new local low. Even if it didn't manage to form an actual new low, we can still track a potential 1-2 setup from this area, but honestly it isn't necessarily the high probability that I would like to really make me track such a pattern. In the end, I could still see, however, such a larger ABC extension still work out, where we have the resistance area for the wave B, which we got rejected at a 50% retracement here, and the 61.8% retracement here. We may have even a chance to push once again into one of these levels, potentially even to the 78.6% retracement, but yeah, that is not as likely, especially now that we broke below this support zone area that we can now remove from the chart. Now, what can we track? Well, one possibility is that we have already bottomed within this wave B, and we will be tracking a possible extension higher within it, but within the yellow scenario instead, where we could still end up forming something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this yellow interpretation. But we need to keep aware that this is a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th unfolding, or that has unfolded here in the larger wave C, marking it a possible initial wave 1 to the downside of the larger wave C. And I will be tracking that still in the white scenario, where I would look out for a resistance area between the $57.6 level all the way up to the $78 level at the 78.6% retracement, and a couple of these levels do overlap with the larger resistance area that we have here for a generic wave B. And yeah, those may prove more significant, especially here at the 78.6% retracement, where we do have some structural resistance as well. Now, within this area, even within this wave 2 correction, I am still expecting an additional high, even if we don't follow through in the yellow interpretation forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could still be finding something like an ABC pattern to unfold. And in that case, I will be looking here for support in the area, and let's see, what color should we even use for this? Let's use orange. In the area between the $45.7 level all the way up to the $50.9 level. So as long as we stay above the 78.6% retracement, we can still track a continuation higher, either within the white scenario or the yellow scenario. Both of them could still allow for such a pattern, and actually this should be white. Now, within this correction, either in a wave B or in a wave 2, we could be expecting different patterns depending on which it really is, but what I am mainly tracking is a possible 5-wave structure that has formed here within a wave A. Funnily enough, we do seem to have a possible 5-wave structure to the upside as well, and in that case I may even need to consider a possible bottom already in place, but we ended up pushing quite low in this follow-up correction where we nearly invalidated this potential 1-2 setup in this area. And yeah, we need to be watching out for a potential continuation to the downside here within the wave C, where I would argue that we have already formed 3 waves down and we may be looking still for one more before we can assume with a higher degree of likelihood that we have a complete pattern in this larger correction here in this orange support zone area. And in this case, I would be watching out for resistance for such a wave 4. And let's grab the template. But it would be between the area at the $50 level all the way up to the $52 level at the 61.8% retracement. And so far, we pushed right into the 38.2% retracement, which is the ideal target for wave 4, and we got rejected, meaning we may already be on our way in the 5th wave to the downside. But I do want to point out there is a slight chance we may be even able to consider this only a wave A up or a wave 1, and then we could still see an extension in this area. Yeah, I'm not confirming that we have already topped here within the wave 4. It is, after all, in the very small time frame. These are just some ideas of how this larger correction could unfold and yeah, how it could lead us into these higher prices. And yeah, for now, here in the very short time frame, ideally we get an additional low, and then we are ideally looking to push into at least one more high into this resistance area in white. If we don't manage to form here this larger wave C in yellow, which would allow for a reset within this larger wave B in white. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.